In today's video, I'm going to be taking you through some practical help and advice on using lime pointing. Now, I've got some fantastic old stonework here to do, so I'm going to get a mix going and talk you through everything you need to know about using lime. So already we can see the natural beauty of these stones coming through. This one I haven't cleaned, so it gives you an idea what it all looked like. Yeah, we definitely need to get that filled in. Clean all that out. And of course, just to update if you're new to the channel, I fitted these stones here primarily to support the upright post here. Now that supports the A-frame upstairs, so vitally important. Now there was a big foundation stone underneath it, and where I had to dig the floor down at the back of the wall, it was over 20 inches, so I took out a lot of clay out of here, and that has kind of compromised the footings, although there isn't really any, of this interior and rear wall. So I put these here to support that and to be the base for my stairs going up. So now, as far as tools and buckets go, they must be clean, free from all old lime or cement if you're using cement. You know, it really does pay to give them a good clean, wash them down to make sure you haven't got any old, say, lime or cement on them. That's one of the first things to consider. Also, has your cement or lime been stored correctly? Because if damp gets in there, then you know it's going to compromise your mix. Always use clean fresh water. I'll show you the mixing method that I use and talk you through it. So let's go outside, have a clean up and get mixing. So once we've cleaned all our tools down, our buckets and everything like that, we're going to do the mix. Now I'm using a 2-to-1 ratio, so it's 2 sand to 1 lime. Very important to get these ratios correct for the strength of the mix. So yeah, I'm going to use something to measure it out. First of all, I'm going to put the sand in, so 1 part sand first. After that it'll be the lime, 1 lime, and then after that it will be 1 sand again. Going to mix that up dry, good 5 minutes, make sure all the lime coats all the individual literally pieces of sand in there, get it thoroughly mixed, and we'll slowly start adding the water. Lime now. Back outside for another 2 sand. That gives us a 1-in-2 ratio. Now for larger quantities I'd use my paddle mixer. You can use a cement mixer, but you've got to watch that it doesn't start balling. Now when you mix up in a bucket by hand, it's very handy to have another bucket, empty bucket, so you can tip this one out, and that way you'll get all the stuff at the bottom is mixed to good on the top. Now I'm not going to add water to this yet. I'm going to clean the rest of the joints out, get it all nice and prepped, and then slowly add the water. Let it stand for 10 minutes, give it another mix, and take it from there. Now the lime that I'm using is what they call hydraulic lime, which uses moisture and water for it to harden, as opposed to the other lime, which kind of carbonates with the air. So be careful what lime you pick. Yeah, you really have to just do your homework and research on whether lime is the right application for you. It's not right in all circumstances. You know, if you need something drying rapidly, maybe it's not the best option, but certainly in the fabric of these old buildings I find that this is what they used before, so that's why I'm going with that. It allows the building to breathe, which is very important. So that's nicely hoovered off, ready to be wetted down. Now normally I'd use one of these pump action to get in there, but because this isn't the final pointing, if you like, yeah, I'm just going to get the watering can and just go over it. So yeah, the reason why you wouldn't soak all the stones is because it can stain, you know, when you're doing your pointing work, but because we're quite low, it's not really going to come up as high as the stone. So and there's quite a lot of lime mortar beneath here, so it will take up quite a lot of moisture. So we slowly start to introduce the water, and then you can add, you can't take it away. Right, after a good mix, we'll let that just sit and amalgamate, and we'll come back and give it another mix, and that'll be ready to use. So just going to concentrate on building this area up first. So when you agitate it like that, it kind of finds its level, but don't do it too much because you'll bring the water to the surface. What I'm doing here is making sure I leave enough space for the next final, you know, pointing of these steps. Fill in the big voids, but just allowing enough to go over the top. If you put too much in and start moving it about, it will start bellying out, and yeah, it won't end well. So once we've got all the big voids dealt with and it's just starting to go, like I say, touch dry, go over it with the paintbrush just to give it a slight texture and work it into all the gaps and voids. Now we take one of these striking irons and just force it down. Again, you have to get the timing right with the line to make sure it's not too wet. If it is, just let it go off a little before you start striking it. just still too wet. Whilst I'll take a few minutes to sit down, I'd just like to thank everybody for their support. Now if you're new to the channel, please subscribe, hit that bell button so you don't miss any future upcoming videos. Now some areas might be ready before the other. Yep. Yeah, it's a little bit wetter here because it was thicker. Not concerned too much at the back because I'm going to be building a wall up here. Just want to make sure it's forced down into all the joints correctly. So that is as far as I'm going to go with this application. Certainly not going to put any more in. It's filled up the voids. Yeah, it's starting to look like one piece now. Okay, next job is directly here. Now before I come across and plaster the rest of it in lime, I need to fill the deep voids because it's too much to go over with just, you know, even though I'm just putting one coat off just to blind it off and secure the stones, we still need to fill those deep voids. So we'll get this cleaned down, we get going again. So we've got to plaster all of this. Now I did a while ago put in a big, what we call like a pad stone, foundation stone in the bottom there. There was a bit of a void under this area, so I filled it up with stone and lime. And I do plan to put in a post that goes all the way up here and picks that beam up there which supports all the floor joists, so quite an important area. We're going to get all the big deep holes filled, and we can go on to the next stage of plastering it. So I'm not going to use my hook, as we're just doing small areas, just going to use the trowel like this. Simply on there like that, and then just strike it in. You know, if it's the first time you've ever done anything like this, don't be afraid, just hold this tight to the wall, trowel, and just strike it in. Just keep striking it in, up and across. So nothing fancy, just getting plenty of lime into the deep voids. I call this gobbing out. It just makes the next process of going over the top with the lime plaster so much easier. So it's not got to be anything special because we're going over the top of it with another coat, and we're going to put a studwork wall in front. As before, once you get it in there and you're happy with it, leave it alone, because the more you work it, the more chance you've got of it falling back out. So okay, I'm just going to carry on filling up this void here, even though I've got a post going across it, or up it rather. Yeah, I still want the stones to be, you know, held in place. Right, that is it for this video. Thanks very much. See you in the next one. Bye for now.